Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. This is my analysis of the Cyber Core tutorial portion of the new campaign co-op gameplay that Call of Duty have just revealed for Call of Duty Black Ops 3. I have another video, a separate one going up about the campaign gameplay playthrough itself that will be linked in the description if you want to watch it. The reason I've split this video in two is that I want to compartmentalize it a bit and make it easier for you guys to get the information that you're interested in as soon as possible. Let's jump in. The tutorial meets you with an American voice. You're just waking up from surgery. He's saying, "Are you still with us? You're just coming around." And he explains that there is now a DNI, which is a direct neural interface in your brain. That is what is going to allow you to control not only your body, which has now been heavily modified because you're a Black Ops soldier in 2065, but also it's going to mean that your teammates back at base, for example, can wire in and show you graphics on the screen. You can get a visualization of them talking to you when they're relaying information to you and things like that. The voice says your mind will slowly begin to understand what your body can do, and by this I'm assuming they're talking about the level up system in the game, where as you play through missions, perhaps over and over again, if you're interested in doing that, maybe with friends, it's a co-op campaign after all, you'll be able to level up your character and customize them and even show off some trophies from some of your hard-fought battles in the safe house. There's a big change in the Black Ops 3 campaign this time around, which hasn't been really available to us previously in Call of Duty. No, I'm not talking about the fact that it's cooperative. Yes, I know that was in World at War. I'm talking about the Cyber Core. Cyber in this case is a shortening of cybernetics. It's a cybernetics core, and it will fulfill specific battlefield roles. They actually show off multiple examples of what this will mean to us as players in the tutorial itself. We actually get the chance to see every single ability in what I'm assuming is its vanilla form, so its non-upgraded form, assuming that is that you can upgrade the abilities themselves. But we'll look at that at the end of the video. For now, we'll focus on gameplay of some of the abilities in action. So the player here is using the green subclass, you can see, and in the top left, they have Rapid Strike on there. Also, I wanted to quickly point out that on the right, the reason you can see through the wall is because your DNI, your direct neural interface, is giving you information about the world that you otherwise wouldn't know because you're wired in electronically. So the player jumps off the platform that they are on and finds themselves in a position which will allow them to perform a contextual attack. That means that it's dependent on the situation. If there were no enemies there, this player wouldn't be able to do this big slam, but because he's in the right place, he or she in the right place at the right time, they can do the attack. In this clip here, the player selects Remote Hijack, which is going to let them do things like take control of drones, and that's exactly what the player does. Check it out. The player selects the ability, runs forward, and their DNI shows them that there's a drone that they can take control of. They thrust their arm out and take control, and then they're in the drone. They can pilot it around even though it's enemy tech, shoot a load of bad guys, and cause some carnage. Next, we see Servo Shortout in action, which cripples robots by destroying servos in their leg joints. And again, the player selects it. You can see in the bottom right, that is what they have selected. You can see the little icon there. They jump forward. Their DNI shows them that the ability is available to use on some robots. That's the red stuff you can see around the robots on your screen now. And then they use the ability and it does its job. Next up is Ravage Core in action, and I honestly think that this is just so damn awesome. I'll have more information on all the contextual abilities at the end of the video, like I've already mentioned, but you can see the player plunges his hand into the middle of a robot and pulls out its core. It's badass. It is super cool. We then see a couple more in the following order. First of all, we have Firefly Swarm. That's what's going on here, that chappie burning alive. We then have Protocol Override. The player uses it on the rat and causes it to kill its own team. Then Immolation, which the player uses on this robot and causes this big explosion. And then a contextual one, Electrostatic Strike, which shocks this enemy here. And as you can see, that enemy isn't going anywhere anytime fast. The next is Rapid Strike, another contextual one, which is firstly a melee, and then another melee, and then a third melee, and it seems to do quite a bit of damage. Awesome. So that's all the abilities they use in the trailer itself, but they actually show us the descriptions of all of the ones that are available, so we can get an idea of what they all are. I want to just very briefly take a moment to say if you haven't liked the video yet, then please go ahead and do it. It'll make my day. And without further ado, let's jump into these abilities. There are three main tiers. We're going to go through the main abilities and then look at the contextual stuff afterwards. So we start off with System Paralysis, temporarily disable enemy robots and turrets. We then move on to Servo Shortout, cripple robots, by destroying servos at leg joints. Remote hijack, take control of an enemy robotic vehicle and pilot it remotely, which is pretty damn awesome. I'm going to be using that a lot. Protocol override, switch to robots' friend or enemy recognition. They will fight for you. Surge, target robot will run into a crowd, then explode arcs of electricity. This sounds beastly. Augmentation, targeted exosuit will attack its user. That sounds really cool. Then we switch tier and we have sensory overload, temporarily blind and deafen human combatants. Immolation, which we saw before, burst a robot into flames, set off all explosives carried by an enemy. Firefly swarm, release firefly drones to blind enemies and firebugs to burn them, which sounds so cool. Sonic anti-personnel, incapacitate enemies with focused sonic wave weapon. Cacophony, detonate fuel, power, and electrical containers. Misdirection, spoof an incoming bombardment on enemies, forcing them to seek cover. And then the next tier has overdrive, move faster, aim better, and handle equipment quicker for a time. Unstoppable force, quick boost forward, killing enemies in your path. Concussive wave, concussive blast kills close enemies and knocks down others nearby. Active camo, become nearly invisible for a time, most effective when not moving. Weapon lockout, force an enemy's weapon to malfunction temporarily. And finally, smokescreen, deploy an ion-charged defensive smokescreen around you. So you can get an idea from these of the categories. You've got the blue first category, which is essentially controlling electricity and things and using that to your advantage. The second is more fire-related, I suppose. And then the third is more about the environment and doing things like boosting and moving and using smoke screens and camouflage and things like that. But like I said, you also have your contextual ability for each category. For our blue category, we have Ravage Core. Rip a robot's power cell from its core. When thrown, it will explode. This sounds beyond cool. This sounds so damn good. This is some Indiana Jones level stuff right here. Like the sound of that very much. For our orange category, we have Electrostatic Strike, electrocute an enemy with a deadly melee strike, and finally for our green category, we have Rapid Strike. Follow through a melee kill with 2 additional deadly melee attacks. That's the one that we actually saw a little earlier in the video. Hopefully you guys have really enjoyed this. I spent hours editing it and did it as soon as I could so that you guys could see it as soon as possible. Fingers crossed you appreciate that fact and have subscribed as well for more Black Ops 3 videos like this in the future. I have been MrRoflWaffles, that's the name, don't forget it, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.